Hey everyone, welcome back to Dan 91's garage. In this episode, we're going to rebuild the Glanza cam cover that we stripped down last week. I'll put a link for you here to the other video if you haven't seen it yet. In the meantime, if you're building a race spec rocker cover, you'll already have your AN fittings welded onto the top of it, or you can use some simple bolt-in tapered thread fittings that are available online. We're just going to stick with the standard Glanza cam cover because that's enough of an upgrade for this particular build. So I've got all the screws, adhesives and sealants ready. Let's run back in the house and get this thing sorted. So after we've cleaned everything, made sure that there's no shrapnel in it or on anything, we have a quick look inside. Basically, there used to be a cardboard gasket between the baffle and the cover itself, obviously to help separate the two channels for where the vacuum is drawn out to the different locations. So don't actually have the card gasket. I'm not going to make one and you can't buy one. So this thing's obviously never meant to really be serviced. So what we'll do is we'll use some instant gasket or some silicone sort of gasket maker, rather than not silicone sealant like you use in a bathroom. Obviously it's proper gasket maker. I like the L-Ring Durco HT. It's always worked for me, so that's what I'm going to go for this time as well. So we need to put a little line of it around the outside the bolt heads, obviously, to stop that anything being drawn in at the sides. Across the back here, there is a gap there, so it's not like we're going to seal a huge amount on that particular channel, because that helps to draw through there as well, which is always a bit weird, but it is what it is. Go around this side, and then obviously down along this side outside the screws, and then across here, and then around that part. Obviously then we need to go down the centre around these spark plug holes as well. It may be a bit of overkill, and at the end of the day, if there are other people out there that when they put the plate on, they sort of weld on, they sort of re-weld some little mushrooms on by TIG welding aluminium filler rod into the locations where the holes or where the rivets used to be. And obviously doing that with that heat, you're never going to be able to have any sealant there anyway, because we'll just burn it out anyway. So there are ways of doing it. People do it without, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sort of mechanically bolt it on and put some sealant in there so it has the best chance of working how it should. I mean, I did toy with the idea of chopping the baffle up. Obviously you've got one exit there and then one sort of exit here. I did toy with the idea when I was sort of drilling the holes, thinking, well, maybe if I just drill these 4 holes and then cut the baffle down, so it's just got one baffle over there, and then on this area, just, oh yeah, I'd only have to like drill these 3 or 4 and just put like a weird triangle baffle thing in there. But at the end of the day, once you've started drilling holes, it's not difficult to do all of them. So there we go. I've gone for all of it. Excuse the lighting, we're doing this inside. Another thing, I don't like to necessarily do these sorts of jobs down the garage. I do like to try and do it in a clean environment. So we're in the studio today, and we're going to go from there. I'll put you up on a tripod. Obviously, I'm not going to show the whole process of it because you get the idea. Put some sealant on it, stick the baffle on it, then bolts with thread lock on, torque all the things up. Sort of working with gasket sealant and Loctite that goes off within a certain time period. It's not quite so easy to sort of pause halfway through and have a little chat, because otherwise you'll end up with one of your bolts half glued in when it's not even been torqued. So I'll put you on a tripod and we'll just rattle through this. Okay, well, I think that's enough with the sealant. Okay, so now we get to drop this very carefully into place. Try and line up the majority of the holes as you go. Something like that. Give that a bit of a squish down. Okie doke, so start with some screws. Don't forget to put the central baffle on, that would be ridiculous. And some thread lock time. A little bit more adjustment. There we go. Okey-doke. So we'll start putting screws in. We need to differentiate the long ones from the short ones again, because we did have two long ones. That's a long one, that's a long one, and they go with the middle baffle, so they can stay with him and the rest of these go in. So I'm going to twiddle them in quickly with just a screwdriver. Okie doke, so we'll start in this corner. And the holes are all lined up enough so we can actually start sending these in. I'll put that one in finger tight and then do cross corners, and then we'll start talking stuff before it gets too late, because this stuff doesn't hang around forever. That's two, so let's give them a quick torque. £10. If I could have my thing back, that would be nice. £10. And I think that's just on the edge of what these screws can take, judging by the fact that it is chewing them slightly, so we'll go back off to 9, I think. And we'll carry on from there. Okay, we're back from the garage, because one of them, when I was tightening it in, the head of it started to chew off, and I was worried I was stripping the thread out, but it turns out it was just the hex starting to go, so I've got myself a new one. So this is the last one going in now. So medium thread lock 243. Little bit on the threads, sort of twiddle it around a bit. That should be in all of them now. Still a bit much on there, so we'll just, there we go. I always put a tiny little dot on it just in case, at least you know some actually got into the hole. They do say on the website if you're doing blind holes you can do it this way, and rather than do it on the thread. So that's now got some in it, and drop some on it, so that's fine as well. Tip that in, turn it backwards to start till it goes click. There we go. Now we know the threads are engaged and we're not going to cross thread it. Hand tight, retrieve your bit, in with the torque wrench and one smooth motion. There we go. So that's all done. 9 Newton meters on those. I'll just clean up all of the extra thread lock that's managed to drip everywhere, and then we'll go from there. And now comes the immense fun of cleaning up all the excess silicone sealant that's in there. So it's a small sort of trench around the outside of it. So we'll pick it out with a small screwdriver to get the worst of it out, and then just wipe the rest of it up with a all-purpose cloth. Thankfully there is a gap large enough to get some stuff in to actually clean out the crap you didn't need. So. And I think we'll leave that there before we f something up. He says still cleaning. There we go. Got to be happy with that. So all done, all back in. Remember the baffle, put the long ones. Just needs a little clean up here. Remember to put the long screws on the area where there was double thickness, so that was good. So they're 10 mils, and the ones around the perimeter are 8 mils. All M6s, button sockets. at 10 newtons, they were starting to give a bit, and in fact one of them started to give at 9, so I turned the torque down to 9 newtons, and then one of them still gave, and that's why I had to run off and quickly go get another one. But that's the thing, I've ripped my glove, yay, that means the work is done. Once your glove gives up, it's definitely time for a cup of tea, so that can sit there and dry. So there it is, all done, tightened up and back together. Cleaned up quite well. I'll chop in a picture here because I don't know whether that's going to show up. I can't obviously get much closer with this because it doesn't really do focusing. So there we are. Thankfully the baffle itself was nice and clean, and so was the little mini baffle as well. So you're now ready to fit. So just need to replace the spark plug tube gaskets. I have noticed on the inside of these spark plug tubes, sort of seals, that there are a couple of scratches where someone's pried them out in the past. There's one there and one vertical one there. I know it couldn't have been me because I had the Allen key wrapped up in masking tape when I was levering mine out, and then at some point I grabbed a pair of pliers and just started pulling stuff out, but I'm sure I'll be able to seal it. So the gasket set for the Glanza rocker covers turned up. We've got a choice of two. There's the BGA one, which is RK6349, and that's the BGA automotive one. It's a pretty comprehensive kit, obviously comes with all the spark plug seals, the outer seal, and the washer seals as well to stop the oil leaking out the top when you put the nuts on it. The spark plug seals on these are actually quite hard plastic, and being as the wells that they have to fit to on mine have got a couple of scratches in them, I'm not exactly sure how well they're going to seal or conform to it. So I've also got this other one, which is the Victor Reintz set, and that's 15-52791-01. I've used these ones before, but the actual rubber seals in them, are a bit more rubbery, so I'm hoping that when they're forced in, they'll conform to the scratches and there won't be any leaks. So we'll start with this one here. You have to get them the right way round. Obviously there is a right and a wrong way for them to go in. So on these particular ones you can see that there's a ring here and that faces into the cover, and as you're looking at the piece here, there should be an angled section. This should be chamfered on the way in, so when the spark plug tube goes in it helps sort of guide it through basically. If you put it that way around, it sort of tries to turn it inside out. So on the Victor Reintz ones you have to have it with this coloured ring facing in, and it also has these sort of ridges on the edge as well, and they go in the hole. So first of all we need to lube it up, so a little bit of engine oil always helps, and being as these are going to be coated in engine oil for the rest of their life, they should be resistant to this, so that's fine. So that's that. I'll set him in the hole, and there's obviously a chamfer in this hole as well to help guide it in. And when I press it down so the top edge of this is level with the bottom of the chamfer. Don't push it all the way down in, because otherwise it's almost impossible to get them back out again, because you have to stick something underneath the actual seal itself and lever it to get it out. So we'll put him in there. Then I'm using a plastic handle that's actually off my angle grinder, because the sort of diameter of this shielded part is basically the same size as the outer diameter of the seal itself I'm trying to push in. So we put him on there, try and keep him straight, then push it in gently and evenly. And it's gone in pretty well. It's down on this side, it's not quite down on that side, so we'll give him a little bit more of a wiggle over this side. And that's it, nice and even. So you want the sort of surface to be parallel to the rest of the cover itself. You don't want it to be sitting on the wonk like that. If you do push it in too far, don't worry. Just get yourself an Allen key with some masking tape on it. Hook that underneath the side that's too far in. Gently lever it back. Obviously try not to scratch the inside of it, which is why you put masking tape on it. And once you've levered him back up straight, that'll be him sorted. So that's 1 down, 3 to go, and by the power of editing, there we go, all 4 in. Needed a little bit of straightening up, but it's one of the nicest jobs you get to do on this cam cover. So time to turn it over, put the grommet in, and then we can attach the PCV to it. And that's the PCV grommet in and the PCV valve itself. It's quite simple, just a rubber seal, lube up the bottom of it, pop it in, and then lube up the arrow-shaped tube on the bottom of this, push that in as well. It's actually quite hard to put that in, but as you can see from this one, it's a nice tight snug fit, no clanking up and down like there was with the fake one. Then I just need to put the outer seal around it, but I won't do that till it's ready to put on the car, because it needs to be pressed down so the seal doesn't sort of fold up in these corners basically. So we'll leave it there for now. So that's it. Hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. My name's Dan. This is Dan91's Garage. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode.